Hey everybody, it's Nick from Farming with Solar, and I recently put up a 10-panel array with the Aptos panels, and I kind of wanted to do just an interesting comparison between the Aptos and the Canadian. I do run both, so sit tight for that. Here's our 10 Canadian panel array. This was actually supposed to be just a temporary setup. However, it ended up being a lot longer than we anticipated, so it's been up for a year. Funny thing about this is you can kind of see how these angles are weird. We had a bunch of scrap wood again off that we had used, and it really didn't perform too bad, honestly. It's been doing well. I kind of joke about it with catching morning sun and afternoon sun. However, it really does not seem to have much of an impact. Here you can see the specs on this. These are 400 watt panel bifacials. The VOC on this is a little bit higher, so 47.2. Now these actually had, I think it was rated at an extra 15 or 20% on the bifacials. I've never seen that, but you know, under perfect conditions, that would always happen. I would like to see these tested more on unrealistic conditions, but these are actually pretty good. I like these. Now we're here in the store, and you can see here that this is actually outperforming the office. Now this has the 10 Canadian solar panels, poorly put up, and we're getting about 450 and 460 consistent versus the 430 to 460, or sorry, 430 to 450 that we were getting on the other one. So still about half kilowatt for both. Pretty happy. Can't really complain about that considering the light. Note on these Canadian panels, they're massive and they're heavy. When I put these up, I actually had to have somebody help me. I think these are about, almost like 7 feet. Yeah, so I'm about 6 feet tall, but so they're about 7 feet tall. They're definitely taller than me, and about 60 pounds each. They were pretty heavy. Canadian Solar, did a little bit of research on it. So they're based out of Canada, Canadian Solar, but they do outsource their building, I do believe in Taiwan, Thailand, or something like that. So these technically are from Asian countries, built in Asian countries, designed by Canadian engineering. Now we're moving over to Aptos. These are the panels that I recently just put up. Nice, slick. Really can't say too much about it. It's only been up for about a couple weeks. I do like the wicking ability on these panels. Now, I don't have any film on these or anything like that. You can kind of see how water just beads up on it. It did just stop raining maybe about 30 minutes ago. So both these panels are pretty clean. However, I'm kind of curious to see why water just beads on this and doesn't run versus the Canadian solar panels, which we'll go over to see. They're pretty dry. Kind of interesting to think. And if you live in somewhere that has a lot of rain, that's something to consider. About. The angle on these are a lot more aggressive. This is closer to 40, maybe even 45, depending on it. And for the solar, or for the Canadian Solar, those are actually only sitting at 30 to 35. So you would expect that the water to run off to be a lot better on the Aptos panels. Now these Aptos panels, see, these are 440s and bifacials. They are, the VOC is about 41, a little over 41. So you can actually put more in a full array, depending on your inverter. But I do like that these are made and designed in America. They're actually made in Texas. So something to think about if you're kind of dealing with the tariff issues or whatnot. I actually purchased my Canadian solar panels way before that. So we're here in the office, and this has the 10 Aptos panels attached to it, and we're getting about 450, 430, well, between 430 and 450 watts on low light capabilities. Kind of interesting. 10 panels up, and we're still getting about half a kilowatt. Pretty happy about that. We like to use some of our arrays for storage, even though we have bifacials. You're not supposed to have anything under it. We don't really see too much bifacial gain, and if we do, it's typically a day where it's like full sun, the angle is hitting perfectly, and we're getting reflection off the ground. Not too often. I don't really rely on that, but I do like to see some of the bifacial gain sometimes. But whenever we have a storm, we do use it for storage. So this one here particularly doesn't have a whole lot of storage on it. Something to note on what I'm going to talk about. Our Canadian solar array, we have a ton of stuff under it that we're just kind of storing, stuff that can't get wet. And funny enough, more Aptos panels that we have not yet put up. We're actually waiting on using those for a mini split, a dedicated mini split. We haven't purchased that yet, something that we're hoping to do in the future, and going to use these panels specifically for that. But you can see that there's a lot less ability for bifacial on this, bifacial gain on this one, because there's a bunch of stuff and junk underneath it. All right, the most unique feature about the Aptos panels, I'm back here in the office and it is nighttime, is the fact that we still get some current at night. Take a look. So we're pulling 182 volts, which equals about 70 watts. Can you imagine 70 watts straight moonlight or overnight light, no sun, complete pitch black, and I'll show you here in a second. Complete dark. But yeah, I have not known any panels to be able to produce anything at night. This is something pretty cool. Again, these are the Aptos panels. So who's a clear winner? Well, it really depends. If you ask me, as far as performance, as far as ability to move it and build with it and use it, I personally choose Aptos. However, based on certain things, it is unique to me that I would actually, depending on if they found a lighter weight one or a smaller one that could perform just as well, I may actually lean towards Canadian. The the panels do stay pretty slick. They're easier to clean. They perform well even at poor angles, as you can see. In low light, they actually outperform the Aptos. The only thing that was weird and unique to me for the Aptos actually did have gain at night, moonlight. Very, very weird, very strange. That was something unique to me. So the only time that would really matter to me personally would be overnight consumption. I mean, we don't use a whole lot during the overnight anyway. But those that are concerned with inverter consumption and stuff like that, gaining another 100 watts just on these 10 panels all night in the middle of the night, that's something to kind of think about. I thought that was actually pretty crazy when I started monitoring these. But if I had to go back and purchase another one, I think I may actually go with the Canadian again, because something else to think about, these Aptos panels they've only been up for a couple weeks, but the Canadian Solar have been up for, I want to say, a year and a half. So if you want to think about the degradation on that, I mean, you're talking about a year into the 25 year or whatever. But as far as like lightweight, being able to build with it, being able to use power wise, Aptos would be kind of the one to go with. So it really just depends on what you are looking for. I really wanted to point out the low light capabilities and the uniqueness of the, I guess you want to call that late night or midnight capabilities, moonlight capabilities. the Aptos has moonlight capabilities, which I thought was really, really unique. VOC is actually pretty important too. Based on the inverters, I can technically only put 10 panels in a per MPPT technically. So on an array. So realistically, that didn't matter too much to me. If I needed to, I could actually add 11 on this versus 10, but it really wouldn't matter that much. So thanks for watching. Hope this was helpful for you guys.